because I remember the owner calling me into his office in Buckner, Kentucky, and saying, I am going to do you the biggest favor of your life.
I'm going to fire you.
I'm going to tell you, don't do this.
Oh, don't do what?
He said, don't
Smoothie King?
Don't
Or the
quit.
Tropical
Don't
Smoothie?
quit and do this franchise thing.
Oh.
It's going to be the biggest mistake you've made in your life, and I'm going to stop you from doing it. He said, you've got an incredible gig here. It was me and one other rep that were jockeying for, the top spot. I mean, back then I was making like 130, 140,000, which was a lot of money for my age and no degree. And, that was, I just couldn't believe it, but once again, I worked like constantly because you sell in advertising, it's all about selling pages.
Yeah.
And, I would drive 2 hours to pick up a half page black and white. I know that means nothing to you, but
I know what you're talking about.
I was so competitive. Like I wanted to have the highest page count. I wanted to have, I just wanted to, that was, I think, equally or more important to me than the check really was the competitive part of
just winning. All right, everybody. Today I've got Chris Kramolis in the studio. Welcome, Chris.
Man, it's good to be here. Always like hanging with E.
Yeah, man, that's nice. I'm going to go ahead and get this off my chest because it has to be said right off the bat. I am so disappointed you're not wearing your green hat. Man,
if I'd have thought of it, I'd have rolled right down those stairs in that Oktoberfest hat.
Man, it's so good. So Chris has got Chris is of a German, Austrian descent, I guess. But I was at his house, I guess it's been a couple years, and he's got this gorgeous, beautiful little, is it?
Right out of Munich.
Right out of Munich.
Yeah.
This green hat, it's got the little, it's got the medallions.
Yeah.
And I said, you should wear that tonight. And he popped it on. And I was like, you should never not have that hat on. We're bouncing around down there on 30A. And he's like, you're right. I should wear. People are complimenting him on
Yeah,
his
but you
hat.
quickly took it. And by the way, owned it the rest of the night.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So I've known Chris for a long time. We used to be next door neighbors. He's right on the same street. He moved, I don't know, a mile or so down the road now. So we're not technically in the neighborhood neighbors, but still neighbors in a 30A sense of
That's right.
the thought around that. So first, thanks for coming to Nashville, man. This is
Absolutely.
awesome.
I love Nashville.
Yeah, man. It's great.
This place is insane, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Like I told you, you can take the boy out of the holler, but you can't take the holler out of the boy.
Well, I heard you holler when I was walking down the hill over here. So.
Well, I mean, it's just so, growing up in Arkansas, this is beautiful. This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you.
grounds.
And I was glad you survived it through the night. Not everybody does. Sometimes I come out here the next day and they're just gone. And we don't know what happened.
Well, I know how to deal with them.
So let's talk about growing up in Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
You've got shoes on. You've got all your teeth. Like, talk to me. Talk to me.
From a boy from Kentucky. I like it.
Talk to me about growing up in Arkansas. So did you live your whole life growing up in Arkansas? Did you move around any?
I did. My parents were immigrants. So my brother and sister were both born overseas. They were both born in Germany. So I'm the only one. I don't know if you know this.
I didn't know. Are you first generation?
I am. Yeah.
For your mom and dad's side?
Yeah, because my brother and sister are both born in Germany.
Wow, I did not know that.
Right. So they immigrated you had to get sponsored back then. So they went to Wisconsin, ended up in Chicago, and then I was born in 1970.
Is that why you're a Bears fan?
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm a Bears fan. Because, when we moved to Arkansas, there's no pro teams.
No.
And I couldn't do it with the Cowboys. I just couldn't do it, man.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was a Bears. That's
so
still a Bears fan.
You've been afflicted this whole time.
Hey, there's been, a couple good years, and now I think we're back in the good years again. I'm feeling pretty positive.
We saw a pretty exciting game. Yeah, I guess
we sure did.
That was wild. Okay, so you basically grew up in Arkansas then. So, and with an older brother and sister?
Right, yeah. My sister's 13 years older, and my brother's 11. So, yeah, pretty much, almost like an only child, because they were up and out pretty early.
Okay. And then are they still in Arkansas? Is the family still in Arkansas?
Yeah. Heber Springs, Arkansas.
Okay.
Still got a lake house there. Still go back. Home is home. It's a really unique, because it's got the lake.
Right.
So people like to come back. And it's a really interesting, now that I'm older, I like to talk to some of my friends' parents because I want to know their origin story. And so many of them are not from Arkansas because the lake was a real draw. Okay. So they filled that lake in sometime, I believe, in the 60s. And I don't know if you know this, but it was JFK's last stop before Dallas.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a little bit of trivia about Heber Springs. He came and commemorated the dam.
Okay.
After the lake filled. And then, unfortunately, his next public stop was Dallas.
Did he make an appearance at your club there that you've told me about before? The one that's on the island? No. Okay.
Maybe the ghost of.
Okay. All right. That's cool. And you split time now, right? You still go back and
I do.
forth. You've got your lake house there, and then you reverse that. You spend time there in the winter, and then how do you do that?
I used to go back the entire summer.
Right. I remember that.
Because I love the lake. I got a boat up there. It's just, like I said, my brother and sister are there. I've got so many friends there. The lake is amazing. My kids love the lake because they've grown up going to that lake their whole lives. Now I've got one at University of Arkansas and I got another one going.
That's awesome.
So, they didn't catch the Florida State bug. I thought Ben was going to be a Seminole. In fact, I bought some Seminole gear thinking that might happen.
You could probably take that back.
Yeah. It's all right.
So Alex has got a full year under her belt now, right? Or is it 2?
She's finishing her sophomore year.
Yeah. Okay. So she's done 2, and she likes being
Oh my gosh, she's crushing
Suey,
it.
Piggy, and all that
she's
stuff.
doing the Greek life, but getting her grades 4-point.
That's
I told her,
awesome.
I said, look, if you can do both, if you can have fun and get your work done, you got a lot of it licked.
Yeah.
Because I was really good at the fun part.
Right. Well, I know she
Really?
she takes after her mom. So yeah,
She does.
She's smart. Yeah.
She's locked in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so Benjamin's going to be thinking about going there this fall?
Yeah, he's locked in.
He's locked in.
Yeah. Yep. He's
Okay.
already, making plans to go up a couple times this summer and.
Okay. And so when you graduated high school, did you go to Arkansas?
Well, so
University?
it took
Enroll?
me a minute to graduate. We'll start there.
Okay.
So I had a pretty rough rebellious streak in high school. Okay. I was a great student until I was like end of my sophomore year. And then, my dad was super strict. So, I got the, super grounding. And then I kind of just went nuts and ended up not graduating.
From high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I ended up going to summer school and like my dad wanted me to learn this like lesson, like look what you've done. But I was valedictorian of my summer school class of 4. Thank you.
That's how many people were in the
4?
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Awesome.
Yeah. Valedictorian.
Awesome. Did you give a little commencement speech at the end of that?
Maybe a little one.
Okay.
And then I went to University of Central Arkansas in Conway.
Okay.
So I actually got in. And, my dad was like, how did you pull that off? Well, I just figured it out. I got in there. So I did a year there and ended up getting a .075. Nice. I believe I passed archery. And then I was like, I don't think they appreciate really my talents there at University of Central Arkansas. Right. So I had friends that were graduating that year. I was really close friends with a lot of juniors when I was a senior, and they were going to University of Arkansas. And I was like, I'll transfer.
So you pulled a LeBron. You're going to take your talents.
I was going to take my talents elsewhere.
Yeah, you did.
So I get a place with them. I do everything because in my mind at 19, I'm just going to transfer. And I go sit down with the admissions. I'm like, hey, Chris Kramolis, I'm here.
I'm Chris.
Transferring, and they're like, you can't transfer here. .075, like you couldn't get in. I was like, well, I already have a place here, and
I'm here though.
They didn't really get it. So anyway, that didn't work out. Then I've ended up back in Heber Springs. My parents were like, you got to get out of here. So my brother owned a business in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
This is going somewhere, I promise.
I hope so.
So I go to Tulsa and they're like, get out of here. You've got to go get away from some of these people and get a new scene.
Yeah.
So I go to Tulsa. My brother owned a business. I go to work for him.
What kind of business?
He sells or sold copiers and fax machines.
Ooh, this was cutting edge technology.
Well, and if you know anything about sales, some of the ads were like, if you got alligator skin, apply.
Okay.
Because it's a tough
Yeah.
sales job. But maybe at that age, I didn't know any better. So I didn't have this problem with getting turned down. I was just happy to, be out there selling and talking to people. So
give me a time frame on this year. When did you?
This would have been like 90. No, 90. 80. 90. 1990.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1990.
Because I turned 21 there.
Did you move in with your brother?
Yeah, I did. And I actually went to Tulsa Junior College. And then I did actually move back to Little Rock, go to UALR. So I've got 4 colleges technically, and I'm still a freshman.
Okay.
But the final time.
Do you still have any playing eligibility left? Could you go?
I might. They may need me.
Yeah.
So I go back there and work for my brother.
Okay.
And
what was that like?
It was, I owe him a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I owe him a lot that he actually, stuck with me at the, because I was still going out late and doing all that, but I was showing up for work
and he's in his mid-30s. You're 21.
I guess
Does that sound about right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm 21, so he's
Okay.
early 30s, and he let me get out there and sell, and I did a pretty good job.
Cool.
And then he'd actually let me tinker, and I'd work on fax machines a little bit, and taught me some of that. But looking back on it, it gave me the confidence to be out there and know I could sell, and gosh, so much of it's relationships.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means everything to us here at Treehouse Talks. With that being said, enjoy the rest of the show. Yeah, the show, we really cater, our audience are entrepreneurs, founders, visionaries, and I can tell you that we probably, if I polled everybody watching this, we'd probably get a 99% return on nothing happens until you sell something, right? There's probably some marketing head out there like, no, you got to market it first, but it's sales.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a valuable lesson. I think every successful entrepreneur, unless you just are the most wonky tech guy and you're just creating amazing stuff, you got to go out there and sell stuff. And I think that's something you've probably, I'll ask the question, are those skills that you learn working for your brother selling printers, fax machines, are those still relevant today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I got a lot from it. I just had, and I watched him. So, and I worked for slave labor. So I was also waiting tables at that time.
Okay.
So I had friends in that business that were like, why are you working for your brother, dude?
Yeah.
He's paying you like $200 a week or something, whatever it was back then.
Right.
They're like, I make that in a night. You need to be a bartender. Get out of serving and, bar back for a little bit and be a bartender. Get in. And I was like, I don't know why, but I just knew that it was the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I stuck with it.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big part of it. I also think, do you remember I was the lead singer in a band in high school?
Yeah. So this is great. I can't believe I bypassed this. I did not know that until one of the more recent times. I don't know if we were watching football at your house, I guess last fall, and somebody said, bring it out. And then I don't know if it was a VHS tape or you had this on YouTube now.
It's on YouTube.
Yes. And you pulled this thing up and I was like, oh my God. Can you tell the audience the name of your band?
The name of the band is Canaan.
You want to spell that?
Canaan.
Now don't turn off this channel and go search that. I should have held that to the end. Damn. Might have to edit that. Oh, it's Canaan.
Canaan.
Yeah, wow.
So I was invited into that band my junior year, but I'm not going to bore you with too many details other than I will tell you looking back now, because I didn't go to college. I didn't get my degree. And so I've thought, and people have asked me, questions about, how'd you get, to wherever, to started. And a lot of it was just confidence. And a lot of it was just not being scared, to jump off the cliff and do it. But singing in the band was so scary at first, getting up in front of all your friends, on stage and having to, control the mic and do that. And looking back on that experience, I really think it was a huge factor in being able to sell.
Yeah. And is it still, do most people in Arkansas still consider it the greatest band to ever come out of the South? Is that mostly what people talk about?
There's a debate between maybe us and Black Oak, Arkansas, but
it's right there though. Right. It depends on who you're talking to.
Exactly.
Maybe the day of the week.
Hey, Breaking the Bonds was a pretty big hit. You'll have to look at it. You'll have to listen to it again. You've already heard it.
I'd like to. And I want to watch it again because are you like 80 pounds in the?
Yes.
And I like.
Well, it was the only year I had abs.
Well, and you show them off, and then there's so many scenes of you like sitting on stairs with your very just upset and all your angst, and I was like, man, might
be some cigarette smoking in there.
Boy.
Who knows?
Just a lot of fun B-roll happening. It's great. So whoever shot that, wherever you're at, kudos to you. It's it's like Thriller. And then you're right, like top 5 music videos. It's in there. I think Mike Jack's probably got the top 4, and then you guys, I will give you top 5.
Okay, then.
So, I'm curious. I have worked with people that did not get their degree, and they've carried that around with them. Successful people, but they somehow carry this around with them, and they kind of feel like inferiority or lesser than, or it's something that they just. And I always tell people, like, who the hell? Nobody cares, right? If you're great at what you do, that degree, all that really is, at the end it says that you finish something that you started, right? And unless you're like a doctor or an attorney or something, you need to have some technical skills there. For most of us, most entrepreneurs, we're not really doing anything with our degree. I double majored in biology and biophysics, and I have a hard time doing any of that stuff right now. But do you carry that? Does that have any regrets? Is that something you're like, oh man, I should have got that done, or you just don't give?
No, I don't have any desire. I mean, there's some people that, I get it. They want to go back.
But is that something you ever carried?
No.
Were you ever ashamed of that? Or no?
No, not once I got over the hump and got the first job.
Okay.
Then I knew once. So I want to go back to my brother. The only reason I got my first sales job was because I had the copier and fax selling
on your
experience.
Resume. Yeah. How long did you do that for?
The copier and fax. I did that for 3 years.
Oh, a long time.
Yeah.
Did he let you live with him that long?
No, I eventually got my own apartment.
Okay.
And then he sold that business. We moved back to Heber Springs. He opened another one there. I helped him with that. And then while I was there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to, try to do my own thing and get a sales job.
So you got to see, maybe not realizing, I mean, you knew he had his own business, but maybe not thinking about entrepreneur or entrepreneurial type of things that right at your brother. So you had a front row seat. Hey, your brother just started a business because he wanted to sell fax machines or whatever the reason, whatever the gap was that he saw there and wanted to go solve for. So did that plant the bug, do you think? Do you think you're like, hey, one day I want to have that, or were you not thinking that way?
I don't know if I was thinking that way then, but those things rub off on you and you don't know it.
Sure.
Right. So maybe seeing my brother do it, maybe that did have something to do with, well, I can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know that I've really thought about that part of it.
Yeah. Well, this is a thought provoking.
Yeah.
We're going to go deep, Chris.
Go deep.
Okay. So you were launched into your sales career. And again, a lot of entrepreneurs, that's the way they start. They're selling stuff. They're figuring it out. Building relationships, understanding how to handle no's, understanding how to overcome objections. Because if you can't overcome objections, you're probably not going to be, at least in that sales role, very long, right? It's something you have to learn. How long was it that you were in that sales role or in sales roles before you landed at a famous juice place?
Okay, so I had the first sales job that, like I said, I was fortunate to get. In fact, one of my closest friends just got out of college with his master's, and that's probably what got. He was like always back in the day. You had to look in the paper classifieds.
Okay,
and he was going through the classifieds, and we were always hanging out because we were living there together and work. We'd work out. I would go to work for my brother. He was looking for a job because he was out now and needed, and I'd go, well, I'll look with you.
Okay.
So we both found things we wanted to apply for, and we both got them. And we both had the same starting salary.
Okay.
And he had his master's, right? So I think that also made me realize, okay, now it's all on my merit. So now I just need to work my ass off.
Okay.
And I worked my ass off.
What were you doing? What were you selling?
I was
at that
selling,
point?
I had the worst territory in the company, I think.
Okay.
Because I was young.
Arkansas?
It was Arkansas. But I had from Memphis to Tucumcari, New Mexico.
Tucumcari.
Yeah. Tucumcari.
Is that 2 words? Is that 1 word? Is that a county? Is that a town?
Tucumcari, New Mexico. It's a town.
Oh, New Mexico. I was thinking Arkansas.
No. It's on I-4.
You had a big patch.
Oh, it was huge.
Okay.
And here's the best part. I sold marine supplies. So the territory was so large because there wasn't a lot of water. And when you started to kind of get...
So they just gave you that
west.
territory?
Oh, yeah. And I had out there. I don't know if you remember the Nissan hardbody, the 4-banger little truck that Nissan used to make. Yeah. So that's what I drove. And I would tell people, when you were going through Oklahoma on I-40, between Oklahoma City and Amarillo, and you hit that 60-mile-an-hour headwind, and that dust is blowing and the sun is setting, it looks like you were driving into the jaws of hell, into a David Lynch movie.
Yeah. You're
like
full Mad
tumbleweeds
Max
are flying by. And,
Yeah.
But I covered that territory. I put so many miles on that truck. I was so scared to lose that job. Fear was a big part of it because I was just so grateful that I got it. I couldn't believe I got it. Like, this was an insane, pay increase for me for back then. So it was just like, I was not going to lose it.
For anybody that hasn't driven that particular stretch of road, you may or may not know, but there's no radio channels once you get so far. You have to have your tape deck with you. You get out there, especially on the far west part of Texas, it's just dead zone.
Oh, you're doing
it.
Yeah,
you're say no gas station for the next.
You drive 4 hours, listen to the radio, you get saved 3 times.
100%.
That's what's on the radio.
That's 100.
That part of Oklahoma, Texas.
That's awesome. Okay, so you are selling what kind of marine equipment? What does that mean?
Oh man, everything from boat fenders to whistles to motor flushers to little orange gas cans, just anything that.
Okay.
It was the main place I went was Kmart.
Okay.
So we stocked the Kmart sporting goods section.
Okay.
So this was when Kmart was transitioning, and I don't even know if you can remember, but Kmart was like the shit.
I remember the blue light special.
Yeah, and they had sporting goods managers.
We had those in Kentucky, by the way. We were up and coming. We had Kmart.
Yeah. They had sporting goods managers. These were well-paid people that would hold down their department, right? And then Walmart came in and just started, kicking their ass, and they had to change their model, and it didn't work. But they went from having sporting good managers that were dedicated to the sporting goods department that would take care of everything to then bringing in third-party vendors that would take care of certain sections.
Okay.
So I was working for a company that just took over the marine goods.
But you weren't staying in store and selling or demoing.
No. I was just going in and making sure it was stocked.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. And then anything also for tubes, inflatables, summer toys, things like that.
Okay. And then were you getting like quota credit if they were moving a bunch of stuff from a particular store? Was that, or you
Yeah, I was getting, I was commissions.
That's part of your thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and, there was strategy to it as well because you had to try to get the end caps. You tried to try to get the side kicks. You know what I'm talking about? Like you hang all your whistles on a corner.
Yeah.
You go move some of your product to hardware. And man, I was into all that. I was like, I'm going to sell my stuff.
Okay.
And so I learned quite a bit with that job.
For?
I did that for, it's hard to remember because I did it, I think I got that job like in 95. And then I had it till 2001, I guess. So I did it for 6 years.
Okay, long time.
Yeah. So I did that, and that's when I met Shannon.
I was getting ready to ask.
Yeah.
Like, were you stalking a Kmart and bumped into Shannon?
Well, I was living back and forth between Tulsa and Little Rock. Okay. I had places in both.
Okay.
Roomies. I didn't
You're
have
the
places.
original Tulsa king.
Yeah. I was, just had roommates. So I'd bounce back and forth. And we would go to Razorback games because, there used to be games in Little Rock, and those were fun at War Memorial. Anyway, all the guys would come in and we'd go hang at this bar called Grumpy's, and we'd smoke cigars and get rowdy.
Yes.
And Shannon was our waitress a couple times.
At Grumpy's.
And then she was just a lot of fun. So we would want to go and sit in Shannon's section, and she would want us to sit there because we would hang out. And it was just a fun group of guys. So, anyway, so I got that job and I had only had it for maybe it was coming up on a year, and we had our first convention. So we went to our convention and I got asked by the owner, I got called off to the side and they were like, hey, you're going to win the Rookie of the Year award. And the most senior guy in the company is retiring. We want to offer you his territory. And it was the best territory in the company.
Okay.
But it was moving to somewhere along the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
So I was like, of course I'll take it. So I hadn't been dating Shannon for 6 months. So I called her and I said, hey, you want to move to Florida?
Yeah.
That's how that happened. And she said, yes. And I said, don't worry about it. Come to Florida. If you don't like it, we don't make it. I'll move you back. But if you want to come hang out for the summer, let's do it.
So
we moved to Navarre.
Okay. Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah. And it was 95, 96, because it was right after Aaron and Opal. Remember those double hurricanes?
Yeah.
And they dumped some houses out there in the Sound. It was a disaster. But then we moved shortly after that to Navarre.
Okay. So you come down there, you've got the best territory now, which it makes a lot more sense if you're selling marine equipment
supplies on the Gulf.
But you take over the best guy's territory, and then what happens?
Well, I just kept working that, and that was great. It was a nice, pay increase. And then Shannon, I don't know, she talks about it now. She can't believe she stuck with it down there because, Navarre back then was real small and super transient.
Not big now,
and I'm on the road all the time.
Okay.
And in her mind, she's like, awesome, I'm at the beach, but she's really just kind of, alone in this condo at the beach. So I get another promotion that we came up with a deal with Johnson Evinrude to start selling oil, and I moved out of the Kmarts and into dealerships.
Okay.
So I was calling on boat dealerships, was great to get out of the Kmarts, but my job came open. So my boss asked me, you know anybody? And I was like, you should hire Shannon.
Okay.
So they hired Shannon.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
So
you guys were
Shannon
working
took
together.
my old job and I had to train her. And you have got to ask her about how terrible the experience was having to learn from me.
I'm sure.
She like,
I will ask her next
we
time
work well together, but
Yeah.
she might tell you different. I think we do, but
Yeah, I'm sure. No,
I can be a little OCD.
that's it. That's an interesting story. Similar when I was getting deployed and I was in the Kentucky Army National Guard, and then my company went and offered Kimberly my job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you experienced the same thing.
I did, yeah. And they were awesome about it. They're like, hey, when you come back, we're still gonna have a job for you. I learned later they had to, right? It's kind of a thing. But anyways, got back, and Kim was in pharmaceutical sales at the time, but got back and they're like, we're keeping Kim. And I was like, what's that mean for me? She was crushing it, but I didn't train her per se. I mean, I kind of get like, hey, but I'm not the right person to do that type of thing. But yeah, we worked together at that place. I think we worked together for about 8 years. Over there.
Wow! All right.
Yeah. And then we've been working together ever since. So I didn't know that though. I'm gonna have to ping her on that. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means everything to us here at Treehouse Talks. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the show. So I want to get into the franchise world, right? So that's what the past however many years now has been. You've been, super successful with lots of this stuff.
25 years. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. So how did you get started with that?
Okay, so it ties totally in with Shannon taking my job. So
Okay.
Shannon now has my old job, and she's running that route. And God, we used to talk about how god awful the Kmart music was. I mean, if I could save time in a bottle, but I mean, it would be on repeat. I mean, we still sing them
at the end.
Oh,
they were
gosh,
depressing
it
at
was
the
so
end.
depressing.
The lighting in there,
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Anyway, she came. We both came home after our running our routes for the week, and she was like, "I ate at the best place," because back then when you were running those smaller towns, your choice in these smaller markets were Subway and like Meat and Three.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? It was either a local diner or Subway, and that was or McDonald's or whatever. And like healthy food just didn't
I can't
exist
imagine
in
her
smaller
eating at
towns.
McDonald's, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't even picture that.
She was the Taco Bell queen.
Was she?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. She'd drink those packets of sauce.
Okay.
But she said, you got to go try this out. So on a Saturday, we got up, went to Niceville, and there was a tropical smoothie there.
Okay.
And I was just blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, these wraps are like fresh and good. And I like the smoothies. And I was looking at a cup or something in there, and it was like franchise opportunities available. And I'm like, I don't even really know what that is, but let's call the number.
Yeah.
So we called the number, and Eric Genrich, who was the founder, calls us like right back, and we set up a meeting. I think we met in Navarre at close to the Winn-Dixie, and he talked to us about it, and we were like, okay, and we kept discussing it, and then found a couple sites, one in Gulf Breeze, one in Navarre. We were getting kind of close, but just couldn't work out the leases. And then I learned a valuable lesson. This is good for young guys out there that listen to this, but Shannon and I had been there at this point, I think dating for 4 years, almost 4 years. So remember, we're talking about this, but I have another job that takes me where I'm traveling now. Like I'm going to conventions and stuff. She's mainly staying local on my old route. So I come back from this convention, and you know how you've been to some conventions. I come back and I'm so hungover, and I'm that flight back, and I'm thinking, and I've talked to her, and you can tell it's not, conversations are pretty short. And I'm like, maybe I'm going to ask her to marry me.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. But I'd missed the window. So what I want to tell guys, there is a window. There's a time, there's a clock. You may not have the clock going, but I think the other partner might.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I was oblivious to it. I was like, why would we get married? This is working great.
Yeah.
But in her mind, she's like, I've moved down here. We've done all this. We owned a house. We had 2 dogs.
Yeah.
She's probably thinking, when's this? So I'm like, I'm going to ask her to marry me, because I got to get her back. I'm like, good. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So I land, I go to Case Jeweler at the mall, get a ring. And I have this harebrained idea where, it's getting a little bit later, and I call her and I say, hey, my car broke down.
Okay.
And I'm on that road between like Navarre and Gulf Breeze, right? That beach road, that, you know what I'm talking about? Lonely beach road. And I say, my car broke down. I need you to come get me.
Okay.
I said, I picked up some beer. I'm just going to go walk down to the beach, drink a couple beers. I'm just so pissed off about this. Right.
Okay.
But so she pulls up. I said, bring a flashlight. So she brings a flashlight. She starts walking to the beach, and I've stuck roses leading to me down at the beach.
Look at Chris, the romantic.
Oh, yeah. But ask her. She saw that first rose, and she was like, bullshit. No. Because she was already planning in her mind to leave.
She had to get out of there.
Yeah.
She had enough of your shit.
So there I was on one knee with that ring. And she said yes.
Thank God.
I think grudgingly. But then it didn't take, maybe a few weeks or month. And she was like, hey, I'm moving. And she moved back to Arkansas. She loaded up her Honda Accord with all her stuff, the dogs, and she took off.
Did she leave the ring? Or did she take that with her?
I can't remember, but she left, and I was like, okay.
I know how the story ends. So
Yeah.
Now I'm in suspense.
Right. But I was like, okay, well, decision to be made here, right? So I told my boss I was moving back to Little Rock. I got a demotion. I was back in the Kmarts. It was awful. And there we were in Little Rock, and I was back with my roommate. Owned a house in Florida, but now I'm back in the roommate situation. You know what I mean? Like this huge, just... things that all going this way, and now I've just taken this huge step back.
You got gut punch.
I hate the job. And Shannon and I would talk, and I'm like, she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm driving over the Arkansas Bridge. I mean, this sucks." And she's going through the classifieds because she knows how desperate I am to find something else, and she sees this job, and she's like, "I think I know whose job that is." And it was a girl she grew up with's mom, and it was a really good job, sales job, selling farm advertising.
Okay.
So she calls. Sure enough, it was. She said, Chris wants to apply. I apply for it, and I get it. And anyway, we had moved back to Arkansas, right?
Okay.
So I get this job, and it's like the best job. I just fell backwards into it. But once again, worked my ass off, worked up to the, it was out of Kentucky.
Okay.
Buckner, Kentucky.
Okay.
You know where Buckner is? Where Pee Wee Valley is?
I know Pee Wee Valley.
It's right in that area.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of Louisville.
Yeah. So anyway, I get that job. Shannon goes back to school. Right. She gets her degree, gets a pharmaceutical job. So now we both have pretty good jobs, and I can't let this tropical smoothie thing go.
How much time from you meeting Eric down there in Gulf Breeze?
Yes,
whatever
this is interesting, especially being on the sales side. Now, this is 3 years.
3 years.
Do you think this is a dead lead?
Yeah.
Because now that I've been in franchise sales so long.
He's probably like, man, that was a waste of time hanging out with those guys.
Oh, I know better now, though. I've seen too many of these stories, and I've been one.
Okay.
So it just wasn't that time in my life, to do it.
How many tropical smoothies were in existence at the time you met with him?
I think when I got in, they were under 100, and by the time I got in 3 years later, I think they were probably about 150. Is what I'm thinking.
Okay, so steady growth during that period of time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And call and say, hey, Eric, it's Chris and Shannon. We're in Little Rock now. Is anybody doing Arkansas? And they said, no, and not in Little Rock. And, we said, we think we want to do it. And we just did it. But then he said, I'm selling area developer territories. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? He said, well, you could buy the whole state, and then you could help develop them, and then you share in the royalties. And I was talking to Shannon about it.
Had so much experience doing that.
She's like, this sounds like a scam. Why would they sell us that? And I'm like, I don't know. But I said, I think we should do it. And she's like, no, we're not doing it. Because she's risk averse and I'm the risk taker. We have a good balance there. I said, we're doing it. Oh, I know why I did it, because I was on the fence. I go, well, let me think about it. Maybe we'll do a franchise. And then, if that goes well, we'll be the area developers.
No, were you guys still engaged at this time, or had you been married?
We were. I think by this time we got married, because we got married in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, that all worked out.
I just want to check on that real quick, because if you're like, we're doing it, I feel like maybe you did already go ahead and tie the knot on that.
Yeah, no, we did. Yeah. By this time we're married, and I know we did the area. We were going to say we're punt it and do it later. And he said, well, if you don't do it, I've got this guy in Jonesboro that's going to do it. He got you. So he pressed me.
Yeah.
And I was like, Shannon, I think I'm getting squeezed. I think this is a sales technique. She's like, don't do it. She didn't want me to do it in the first place, but he got me. And I was like, I'm going to buy it. We'll do it. Best decision I ever made.
Do you remember what that cost? What that additional amount was?
I think I paid $90,000 for the state of Arkansas.
Okay, and that's completely separate from the franchising from the store.
Well, that included my franchise fee.
Okay.
So I think franchise fee back then may have been $10,000-$15,000.
Okay.
So I paid
And for everybody that doesn't understand what you're talking about, when you get to develop the state of Arkansas, you basically, no one else could come in there with that franchise and build without going through you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So
I did it, right?
You did it.
And I mean, he wasn't lying. The Jonesboro guy he opened before me. So before I opened my store, I already had a franchisee.
Okay.
And he was legit. And he told me, he was like, man, I was going to buy it.
Now, do you get income from that? Is that a monthly thing, your franchisees, or is that just a one-time thing with that?
No. We get, they collect the royalties and I get a percentage.
Okay. So you started getting a percentage from your
right out of the gate because he opened
awesome.
before me,
Okay.
So that was great. And then I opened in Little Rock. And then, over the course of 15 years, we developed 33 locations. And I picked up, and then I bought Northeast Oklahoma. So because I had the tie to Tulsa and that part of the state, so I started developing there as well. And
so was the business that mature at that time that they were selling chunks of states? You didn't just get all of Oklahoma. That seems.
Well, there was a cost to all of Oklahoma, and Oklahoma had more population. And really, I just wanted that part because I knew that part. I really wanted to develop Tulsa and Stillwater and some of those areas. I wasn't interested in Oklahoma City and Norman at that point. Okay. It was a good bolt on because Northwest Arkansas was, it's right there. It's less than 2 hours.
So you get the state, what did you call it?
Area developer. And then you've got a guy in Jonesboro, which is coming in, and then you're opening up your store. Walk me through that, right? So you're an entrepreneur now, plus a developer, and you're opening up your first restaurant. Yeah.
So what was it? Was Shannon there with you on that too?
Well, we both had jobs. So, we both had jobs and we were.
So did you hire a manager to run that then?
We did.
Okay. So you didn't run that. You weren't in there.
No, but we were, you
were in there.
Yeah. So when I talk to people now, I'm like, you got to be in your store, I think.
Yeah.
Once you get a certain size and you're scaled up and you've got layers, it's different. But, for especially the first one, when you're doing it the way we did it, we were in there. So we would go in and open the store and, we'd be there at 6:30 in the morning, get it open. Shannon would bring her clothes. She'd put on her stuff for a pharmaceutical job. And then I'd take off and go run my, farm advertising gig. And then we'd both come back when we were done and we'd close the store.
Okay.
And then once we had.
Is it 7 days a week? Is that a
7
7-day week store?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But we worked all the time. So,
sure.
It's just we were grinders. We weren't scared to do it. We both didn't have money growing up. So, there's a little bit of fear. Like I mentioned, there's some fear. You don't want to lose what you got.
Right. So, so that's the first store. And then what's the time frame between, so Jonesboro opens up, that's another operator. How much time are you spending with that? Is it just the initial get it off the ground, or are you working with them?
Yeah, I'd go up there once a month.
Okay.
And, hang out with them. But I was still learning what that even meant to be their support. I'm supporting somebody that I don't know how to do myself.
Yeah.
Right? And now I'm the support.
Okay. I love that.
Hey, I don't know. You opened before me. You tell me.
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah.
So how long was it until the next store came along?
So we opened the first one in 2002. The second one was 2006 of our own.
Okay.
So then we had 2 units. And then I think some other stores had opened. Maybe Conway had opened by then. And we had a few others. So, we're working our way up to 5 stores total in Arkansas. And then I quit my job.
Okay. So this was
actually, now that I think about it, I quit my job pretty soon after, I think before we opened, because I remember the owner calling me into his office in Buckner, Kentucky, and saying, I am going to do you the biggest favor of your life.
I'm going to fire you.
I'm going to tell you, don't do this.
Oh, don't do what?
He said, don't,
the Smoothie King,
don't
or the
quit,
Tropical
don't
Smoothie?
quit and do this franchise thing.
Oh.
It's going to be the biggest mistake you've made in your life, and I'm going to stop you from doing it. He said, you've got an incredible gig here. It was me and one other rep that were jockeying for, the top spot. I mean, back then I was making 130, 140,000, which was a lot of money for my age and no degree. And, that was, I just couldn't believe it, but once again, I worked constantly because you're selling advertising. It's all about selling pages.
Yeah.
And, I would drive 2 hours to pick up a half-page black and white. I know that means nothing to you, but
I know what you're talking about.
I was so competitive. I wanted to have the highest page count. I wanted to have, I just wanted to, that was, I think, equally or more important to me than the check really was the competitive part of
just winning. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man.
Yeah. So that really
They come together.
that drove
Winning
me.
does bring commissions and sales and all that stuff, but yeah, I'm 100%
I love seeing my name at that top of the list because it's gratifying.
I love seeing my name at the top of the list, but I hate seeing somebody else's name there more than I love seeing mine.
Yeah.
My God.
It's almost like that loss aversion thing.
Where
it's
100%.
worth,
yes,
worse than
that's
getting
100%. The losing's worse than the winning is good. Yeah, that's a thing.
It is.
That's a thing.
It is.
So okay, so you guys, you got your first store. Your friend didn't do a good job of trying to convince you out of it, obviously. And how many stores did you end up opening in Arkansas?
We ended up opening 3 of our own.
So you had 3 of your own that you guys owned, and then you said 30 plus?
I think by the time we sold out in 2016, 2017, after we'd moved to Florida.
Right.
And, they took up they were taking another PE roll up. By then, the company was really growing. And they really wanted these area developer territories back.
Okay.
Because they're looking at multiples when they sell, and I'm taking income. I'm taking EBITDA off the line.
Yeah.
So they wanted them back. So they were, given fair compensation, right? They bought it back. So,
But when they bought that back, did you keep your stores or did you sell that as a package?
I sold my stores before I moved to Florida.
Okay.
So when I was in Florida, I hired a guy and he managed the franchisees.
Okay.
But by then I had taken one franchisee that was buying everybody up. He owns like 140 Tropicals right now. Okay. He's by far their biggest franchisee, and he came right out of Arkansas.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you sold the stores that you guys owned, and then at some point in time, you sold that area developer back to corporate.
Right.
And then how long because I remember seeing this, I think I sent you the link. I saw it on CNBC. How long after that was it that you saw that there was was it an exit, or what did they do? Did he sell, or?
Yeah, they got majority bought out by a big PE company, but then just like 2 or 3 years ago, Blackstone bought them for $2 billion.
That's what it was.
So
that's what I saw.
they got the big one, and now I think they're, I'm sure they're going to go public at some point.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't even know how many units, but it is fun looking back because we were a big part of getting over the hump.
Yeah.
There were many years where I would tell Shannon, this franchise isn't going anywhere. Like we can't get above like a, certain AUV, and it's just hard to make money because if you live in that certain sales cure everything, and if you live in this one area, it's just like bleeding blood from a turnip, but once you increase sales, and then as Tropical grew and the brand grew and they started pumping more, money into it, because capital brings, then you can pump in the marketing, grow the brand, then the AUVs just really jumped. So now it's a super attractive franchise and they're hard to get.
So I want to, for anybody that's listening and they're thinking about, I want to start a franchise. Maybe they want to get into a Chick-fil-A or a Tropical Smoothie or whatever it is. What's something when you were meeting with a prospect, somebody that said, hey, I want to open up a Tropical Smoothie. What was a characteristic or characteristics that you saw in somebody and you would know, like, they're going to be good at this. They're going to be successful. This is somebody I want to do this. And conversely, what's something if you met with somebody like, hey, I really want to do this thing, that you were like, we're not doing that thing because honestly, kid, this is not going to work out. So give me some lessons learned over all those years of all those developing those shops. What was something that this guy's going to crush this? We need to get him signed up.
Okay. So the biggest lesson that I learned is there is no answer. Okay. I'm telling you, it took me years, and I really had this revelation just in the last 4 or 5 when I got into rock and roll sushi. And I remember Eric used to tell me this. He's like, these are adults, right? And they're making adult decisions. You never know how it's going to turn out. And I'd be like, well, yeah, I can tell these people aren't going to work it. They're going to, whatever. And now that I've done this long enough, I have seen people that I thought were going to be a disaster be awesome. And I've seen the perfect franchisee, like you want them, like you're like, this is my golden goose.
Yeah.
And they shit the bed. And there is no right answer. I really do think that you have to educate a prospect and make sure that they are going into, I'm not saying you take anybody. If there's just some obvious red flags, criminal history, stuff like that. Yeah, those are deal breakers. But as far as, do I know what makes somebody successful? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I've just seen, like I said, I've seen people that can take, it's not the car's fault.
Right.
A Ferrari hauls,
Yeah.
but I can put one guy in it and he can haul ass. I can put another guy in it and he can wrap it around that tree.
That'd be me. Yeah, that's
I don't believe that.
That's an interesting thing that you just said. So I want to dissect that for a second because it really is interesting. So Eric, the founder of Tropical Smoothie, told you they're adults. They're making adult decisions. And I'm going to paraphrase it. Basically, like you need to present to them, this is the opportunity. And if you've got the capital and wherewithal to make this happen, you need to sell them the opportunity so they can go do that, because there is no for sure bet. We don't know if this guy's going to be a superstar or a super shitbag. Right. And I think that as someone that's hired a lot of people over the years, I think it's the same thing with just if you're hiring somebody, right? Like so I've interviewed people and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is going to transform our business. This is it. I'm going to the beach. I was already at the beach, but I'm like, this is it. Yay. And 3 weeks in, you're like, what the fuck did we, that was, what?
Yeah.
And there's other people like, I don't know. And I've had people before I've told, my staff, I'm like, you got to get that guy out of here. He's driving me fucking bad. He turns out being the greatest thing ever. And I'm just like,
so you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I've thought, I've had that revelation before, and we've tried it all, man. We have done the things like, we're going to do this type of survey and we're going to have a trillion interviews. We'll do one interview. At the end of the day, you can't really tell. You can't tell till somebody's in that seat. Now, I think you can tell within about 3 weeks. Now, again, this is a different thing. Somebody's invested money. They built a store.
Right.
That's a little different. But I love that they're adults. They're making adult decisions. It's the same thing. When you're hiring somebody, it's like, hey, you don't know until you get in there.
Right. No, everybody's hot when you're dating.
That's true. that's it should be.
Right.
That's interesting. And is there anything though is there anybody over the years that you guys have said, no, we're not doing this? Or is it just come down
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, the big,
maybe people not following up with you, they won't respond to you, they won't answer, that type of a thing.
Yeah, and there's some background stuff and things like that. But the one that that really made me think about it was I would look at these people because you get all these leads in and you see people that have, one of the first things you're looking at is how much money they have. Because you got to open the business and then sometimes you got to have backup money to make it till the business gets going.
Yeah, sure.
So if you see somebody that's
what's a typical franchise back in the day? What would that be like capital to get it going? Is that a couple $100,000? Is that
I think back then you could probably open one for about 300.
300 grand. You needed liquid capital?
No.
Okay.
But you needed access to 300, but you needed 40 or 50 liquid for a cushion, to have just in case, it doesn't take off the way you want it to.
What's a typical build out for one of those? What is that like?
Okay,
is that like 800 square
you
feet?
asked me back then, like right now, I think it's hard to build anything for under $500,000.
Everything's expensive.
Everything's
crazy.
expensive.
For the past since COVID, everything's been
well,
nuts.
and landlords lost their minds during COVID. Before they used to give you, all these, perks or TI money. And now they're basically like, it's a gray cold shell, good luck. If you don't want it, I got 3 other people that do.
Yeah.
So take it or leave it. So they put people in whatever, it's the market. If they can get it, they get it. You pay it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was going to say they, I would look at these, financials when they would come in and then it hit me. I'm like, wait a minute. If this person thinks they can get it done and I'm worried that they're really, really close and it could like bankrupt them, they wouldn't have let me in.
Yeah.
Eric wouldn't have let me in. Like Shannon and I, it was every penny. Like
do you think in his head he was saying, hey, Chris is an adult. He's making an adult decision.
Yeah. And I think he was like, we don't have one in Arkansas. Cross our fingers. Don't look. Sign him.
Yeah.
Take the check.
Yeah.
That's what I joke with him about now. But really, who's he to stop us from trying to live our dream, right? And had he done that and truly gone by the financials, they would have thrown us out. We never would have qualified. And I just happened to have a friend in Miami that I called because I was like, Eric, we don't have the money. He goes, can your parents loan it to you? I go, dude, no, our parents don't have any money. Like, I don't know anybody that has 10 grand. I didn't know anybody that had that kind of money. And he's like, well, try to think about it. See if you can find 10 grand. I called this friend and I was like, man, this is what Shannon and I want to do. I thought there was no chance in hell. And he loaned me 10 grand.
Wow.
And that got us over the hump and helped us do it.
That's awesome.
And Rob Perry, if you're listening, thank you, sir.
That's awesome. Okay, so exited completely from the business. Obviously, still friends with Eric, and then
So let's talk. Did that go directly into rock and roll? Well, sold out, and then we took a bucket list trip.
Yeah,
and,
let's not be a little wanderlust in the middle of all this stuff. I remember you were telling me about this. I'm like, you're doing what?
Yeah, that was big thanks to Mike Ragsdale, our friend we have in common down on 38.
Mike, if you're in Taiwan,
he's in Bangkok,
wherever you're at listening,
hey, living his best life, man. Those videos are insane. I'm happy for him and Angela. But anyway, I met him during this time through Joanne. It doesn't matter, but once I got to know him and we had things in common, things we've been reading. Tim Ferriss was a big thing. I think we had that in common. And he was like,
2 hour work, whatever it was. I remember that.
Yeah, the 4-hour work week.
There you go.
And he said something about he had taken this trip with his kids. I go, wait a minute, that's like vagabonding and all that stuff that ties in with Tim Ferriss. I was so fascinated with it. I was like, I want to do that. How'd you do it? Well, Mike and his family had done a round the world trip. So I went and had lunch with him and he told me how they did it. They used Air Treks and you can buy these tickets. They go around the world and some of the places that they went. And man, I just started sketching out the trip. And, I told Shannon, I said, when we sell out, we're going to take the kids. We're going around the world and we're going to go for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. But like hesitant. Because remember, I'm the risk taker. She's not. She's like, how's this going to work?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out and we're going to do it. And then the biggest hitch is when I came to her and the kids and said, by the way, you only get to bring one backpack.
Yeah, that would have been it right there. In
three
my
turns
household,
of clothes.
nope.
What you got on in 3 turns.
Yeah, no.
But we also did the trip where we were kind of not catching too much of an extreme in weather because when we were down south, it was going into fall. And by the time we got to Europe, we were going into spring, summer.
Chris, if I'm doing a long weekend down in Florida, the back of the Escalade's filled with about 19. It's like 2 nights. All this stuff.
Well, but you're a sharp dresser. I mean, you look at me. You got me in pants today. This is like hard to believe. Usually I'm shorts and a t-shirt kind of guy. So it's easy for me to pack.
So how many countries did you hit? You guys were, it was amazing. You did the Game of Thrones thing over there. You hit all the spots, right?
Yeah, I think we have like 16 countries. Wow. We spent a full month in New Zealand.
That's so cool.
I broke the family in easy at first and we stopped in Tahiti.
Okay.
But we didn't do Bora Bora. This was a trip to more feel where we were than just vacation everywhere. So like when we went to Tahiti, we went to the island of Moorea and rented an Airbnb on, cooked our own. That's how we did it. We weren't staying at, nice hotels. Yeah, we stayed at one nice hotel when we were in Dubai, and it's like the nicest place we've ever stayed.
Cool.
And by then we had a lot of points. And by the way, a guy she worked with at Grumpy's was working for if I could think of the hotel group, you'd know who it is. It's one of the biggest hotel groups in Dubai.
Okay.
And he totally set us up. It was amazing.
Were you guys at the Burj? Were you?
Well, I have pictures of us paddleboarding, and the Burj is right behind us. We were at whatever that resort is.
I think they changed the name of that now. I'm sure somebody will be in the comments like, no, dummy, that's not. But anyways, and then did you guys do like a house swap too? Did you have somebody staying at your place there in Florida? Or was that another?
Well, we sold the watercolor house then, and we had already moved out, to the other side of 38.
Okay.
But, before we did, we were just going back and forth between Arkansas and we were renting both houses. Yeah. That Tim Ferriss, by the way, changed my life. I will say, reading that 4-hour work week, I would have never moved to Florida. I never would have had it in my head that these things were possible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because there were just these invisible boundaries keeping me in a lane. And then when I read the 4-hour work week, I was like, holy shit, why has nobody told me that, like, I'm creating these boundaries?
Yeah.
And wait a minute, I can own my business here, but I can live. Because we always used to go to Seaside, right? And we would visit and hang out. And every October on the last day, I'd be like, how do we not leave? Can we not leave? Well, I got to go back. I got a business to run.
Right.
But then I read the 4-hour work week. And that one time we went and we were leaving, I was like, Shannon, I think we can move here. She said, we can't move here. We're going to once again. That's not possible. I'm like, I think it's possible.
Yeah. I will throw some caution around absentee management, and there's certain things you can do with this. And I remember reading that, and I was like, that's pretty cool, but it's not for every business. It's not for every vertical. It's not for every person.
Right.
As well.
It was for where I was, but I never would have thought it was possible. But then I started doing things to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And like selling my personal stores.
Right.
Because you can't leave. That's hard.
So the next chapter then in the franchising is rock and roll?
Yeah, we came back from that trip.
Okay.
And I was, just itching again, to do something. I knew that, first of all, I was too young. It wasn't enough money to just, say, see ya. So I started doing some discovery days with some other brands and did a couple where I really liked the brand. But by then I already knew enough to know it's all about the financials, dummy. Look at that. You can love a brand, but do your homework and talk to franchisees and find out who's making money, how much are they, how are they doing it? When you look at a franchise, you'll find successful, unsuccessful, right? Just make sure you're finding out, I think, from the successful people, how are they doing it? What are the metrics? Get their financials, get them to share as much as
due diligence.
Right. And I was just with a couple of these brands. I was like, I don't know. That's hard. And then once again, Mike Ragsdale, we're together in Nashville and we're at the airport and he's like, you really ought to talk to my brother, Joe. They're doing this franchise, this rock and roll sushi. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing sushi. That's full service. It's complicated. I'm a QSR guy. Give me something easy. And he was like, well, we had some time. He was like, you should at least find out what they're doing. It's, they're blowing up in Alabama. And I'm like, now it makes no sense. Swear to God, you just said sushi in Alabama.
Sushi? Yeah,
Same sentence. So I told him, I said, all right, ask him these three things. So all I want to know is how much does it cost to build one? What is the average unit volume? And what's the food cost? I think I can put the whole other, and he's texting back and forth with Joe and he's scribbling these numbers down. And I'm like, I don't believe it, but now you got my attention.
Yeah, because the AUV was high, right?
Yeah, and the food cost was, I just couldn't understand it. Anyway, I started to go around Alabama, and I was just driving around, and I had to go see these rock and roll sushis. And
for anybody that's not familiar with rock and roll sushi, why don't you tell us what that brand's about and kind of that experience?
Yeah, I will I'm going to tell you because I was learning.
Okay.
Right? So I was trying to understand it and figure it out. And why were they doing so well in Alabama? And I went to maybe like 3 locations. Then I got to my 4th. And you got to remember, I was looking at it from all these years of experience of operations. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching, trying to look into the kitchen behind the bar where they're doing stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe some of the things that they were just winging it. They were learning. It was early in their development, but I was just so hyper focused on the operational stuff that I wasn't paying attention to really what was going on with the customers. And finally,
you weren't sitting there to have a beer and a roll. No,
then I got to that 4th one and it was getting a little bit later and the restaurant was filling up. So I kind of spun around in my bar stool and I'm looking around and it was like, bam. It's like, got it. They are bringing sushi to middle America and blue collar America in a very approachable way. And the Metallica and the Motley Crue and that music and then the names of the rolls and the way they did the menus and the neon, and it was fun. And then I started to think about what is the sushi experience I'm used to. And the only 2 I could come up with was Nobu or similar, very high end, really nice, like barrier of entry to high end sushi, or traditional mom and pop places, no music, no vibe. You're looking at the menu, and if you're not familiar with sushi, you're like, I'll take the number 12. You don't even really, it's tough. And I think for some people, I didn't eat sushi till I was like 30.
100, very unapproachable, I would say, for a majority of the U.S. population till up to what, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe? That seemed like a very...
Now it's like ubiquitous.
Yes.
Or it was coming into it.
Yeah.
So then I was like,
I never had sushi growing up.
I didn't either.
Never.
My
girls, they could eat. Ava could eat 18 pounds of that stuff.
They've been,
it's nuts.
Since they're like 3, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah, their whole lives. But like I was like, well, soup. Okay,
yeah.
I like rice. Let's do this.
I was the same way.
Yeah.
So I saw who they were bringing in, and I was like, I got it now. And it's like a blue ocean because there's nobody doing it. They're already the biggest franchise in sushi.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, at the time, we are now for sure. We're the largest sushi franchise. There's one other one, but it's more like you don't notice it because it's a franchise, but they're like doing sushi in the back for other grocery chains.
I gotcha. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
so
like,
customer facing,
Mm-hmm.
branding.
Yeah. So I looked at it and I was just like, if they can do it in Alabama, we can do it in Arkansas. Because they're very similar states demographically. The big difference is one has a kick-ass football team. That's the big difference.
There we go.
But my
Okay.
hogs are coming back, baby.
Yeah.
They're coming back.
All right.
All right.
All right. Okay.
We got to live for the dream.
Yeah, sure. It's always next year.
So I saw that and I called my old operating partner back in Arkansas because, we were looking for something. I was like, I got it. Rock and roll sushi. He's like, absolutely not. I said the same thing. I said, well, come on. So he looked at him in Alabama and then, the rest is kind of history. I met, his brother Joe and then Lance. And it's just such a great entrepreneurial story too with Lance and his wife, because he had been like at a young age in the club business in Birmingham. You want to talk about a grinder, entrepreneur, hustler at an early age. And I mean hustler in a good way. He's just, he met his wife at the Beau Rivage, I think it was. I may get it wrong. One of those casinos down there at Hard Rock, wherever that is. And he was doing the bar and she was doing server, I think. And they fired him. And he was like, screw them. Let's go do our own concept. I want to do rock and roll sushi. And they opened in the mall in Mobile, Alabama.
I love it.
And I love it because it's such a bootstrapping American entrepreneurial, like that's the dream.
Yeah.
And Eric and his wife are the same way with Tropical Smoothie. I love getting into a brand that has a story like that, but I still think I like the fight. I like the bringing it to
the growth.
Yeah, because Tropical started to it's great. It's awesome. It's an amazing opportunity, but I just wasn't as interested once it was blasting off. I like the part where you're still being part of building it.
Yeah. So you did your due diligence. You got your operator, and then what? Did you say, hey, I want to do a development deal again? Do I want to have my own store?
Well, that was critical. I knew when I was looking at franchises, and they don't come around very often, but I was like, I'm not going to get in just a franchisee. I want to find a brand that will sell an area developer thing.
Okay.
Because I've got the background where I can prove I've done it.
Right.
And they don't give them out very often.
Uh-huh.
So they did, and they sold me Arkansas. So did that. And then
you picked up some other ones too, right?
Well, yeah, that was after, but we got Arkansas. We started construction of our first store. And then I don't know if you remember this. It was around March 13th, 2020. And I couldn't get rid of this pneumonia thing. So we called Hillary and she was like, I've only got 3 of these tests for this COVID thing, but I want you to come take one. And I got home and the text came back and it just said 2 words.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means everything to us here at Treehouse Talks. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the show.
When your doctor sends you a text that just says,
nice.
Because
that's
it was
very
like me and the Diamond Princess.
Yeah.
I was patient 0 in Walton County. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
You're
and it was
one
in
that
the
brought it.
paper. I was 50-year-old man. No.
They put your mugshot
50-year-old
on
man. First patient of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I would go for walks. I swear I thought I was going to come home and neighbors would have painted a big red X on my door.
I'm glad that they identified you as that because I was in Hong Kong in the fall before that. And I didn't know if I'd brought it back and maybe I gave it. So
got it from you?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't get sick till later on though. So that was good. Okay. So that's nice.
Yeah. So then, then it's not long after and we're in lockdown and I'm under construction and I'm like, made the worst decision. Here we go. Because everything's grinding to a halt.
Yeah.
And then the most miraculous thing happened once we started opening up in, like certain percentages. I think Arkansas, we were.
Thank God this was in Arkansas. Could you imagine if you're doing this in California or New York or Illinois?
Oh, it'd be over.
It'd be done. Yeah.
And Florida was better than Arkansas, but Arkansas.
I always tell people, like a lot of people that out there don't realize COVID in Florida was very, very different than COVID probably anywhere else.
Oh yeah, I got a good. Well, let's get to that.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that because I want to tell you a story about that. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway, what was so great and what I watched the franchisees do that I just give them so much credit to now because it was a small franchise. They figured that out, man. They got on delivery. Because there was always a little bit of delivery and all that, but now our dining rooms were almost closed down.
Yeah, sure.
And
feels like a bad
But
nightmare.
what happened was the fine dining sushi closed because they weren't doing delivery, and it screwed up their whole model. And the mom and pops weren't doing delivery because they didn't want to give up the commissions. And we were we were like, oh, so much of our competition disappeared.
Wow.
So the sales hockey sticked.
Mhm.
And really that year or two of COVID were banner years because we were just killing it because we had such limited competition in the sushi space.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. And the brand, and then, Eric ended up wanting to know what I was doing, Eric from Tropical Smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I think I want to get involved. I go, oh, are you going to do some? He goes, no, I want to buy the company. So he bought controlling interest, and that's how I became CEO.
And then how long were you CEO at Rock and Roll?
3 years.
So you're CEO at Rock, and I love this because I feel like on your LinkedIn you had like a wig on. you really got into the whole rock and roll.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, that was fun. Well, I mean, it was like
I love it.
it was perfect.
It was perfect.
Lead singer of Kanan gets to be
100%
the CEO of Rock and Roll Sushi. Are you me? I get to control the music.
Oh man!
Which, by the way, in retrospect, it was a little too heavy when I was in control of the music.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then how many stores, how many spots does Rock and Roll have now?
I have to look at it. We're somewhere in the 80s now.
Okay, cool. Do you
Yeah.
ever get that one in Vegas opened up?
It's any week now. It's just a few
I've
permits.
heard that for a while.
Oh,
now.
I know, but now it's actually
Is this where are you putting this at? Is it Caesars? Where are you?
Summerlin.
Summerlin. Okay.
Yeah, right across. I believe the new casino is Red Rock. It's over by the IKEA. Anybody knows Vegas? It's over in that part,
Okay.
and it's going to be like no other Rock and Roll Sushi. This one's like it's Vegas.
I got you. So in the middle of all of this, you, I got to tell the story. You had made a decision that you wanted to open up the restaurant that we've got in Watercolor.
Oh yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
So that would have been, how many years ago was that now? That was, right? That feels about
well,
COVID-ish.
I was doing that.
Okay.
We were doing Beach Happy. It was just taking a while,
Okay.
and then Rock and Roll came out of nowhere.
Got it.
You
So
know-
you were doing both.
So yeah,
And tell everybody about the Beach Happy concept, please.
Yeah, so Beach Happy was really what I was going to do next because I'd done the franchising, for other brands. And I talked to Mike about it because it was a tie-in with the 38 company because they had created Beach Happy. And I said, hey, I think there's a restaurant concept in here. Let me create the restaurant concept and then we'll license the name from you.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea really was to create that and then start franchising Beach Happies. But then Rock and Roll Sushi came out of nowhere and it was already, to me, it was like lightning in a bottle. I mean, it was ready to go. So Beach Happy took a back seat. I mean, it still did great. We grew, we just sold it, but it was, 5 years. It had a good run.
I'll never forget, I ran into Shannon at Publix and I was like, hey, what's up? Gave her a hug, blah, blah, blah. And I said, how's everything going up the new restaurant? She just looked at me and she's like, I said, where's Chris at? She's like, he's on the road.
Probably at the lake.
You know what? I think you may have been at the lake. Yeah, you weren't there and
Yeah.
she was tending
Yeah.
shop and it was on her face. I was like, okay, have a good day. I was like, boy, Chris is getting away with one here because she did not seem happy about having
I
to
still
go
haven't
over there,
lived down that summer.
open up the store and staff the store and then restaff the store and all that. So just before we move on from that, because I definitely want to talk about beignets and brews, but so you had that for 5 years.
Beach Happy?
Yeah. Okay. Great. Put a little energy there on the corner of 30A
Right.
and Watercolor, whatever that is. And you guys were doing the merch from 30A.
Right.
And then you had a great breakfast up there and you guys were doing sandwiches, the whole thing, right?
Right.
Is that still rattling? And I know you said you recently did sell this, right? So
Right.
you sold that restaurant to a group. I don't know if that's public information who you sold that to or whatever, but
I don't know.
Okay, we won't
I
do
think
that.
it is, but
that's fine. You don't own it anymore, so you
Right.
moved on from that. Don't
Right.
have any interest in that. Sold the brand as well. The whole
Yeah,
concept.
they bought
everything's-
they
Okay.
bought the brand.
Okay. And so now you're not in the CEO role at Rock and Roll, correct? Okay, so you're just doing expansion and
Back to doing my businesses.
right.
So I've got the 8 Rock and Roll Sushis that I own. I've got the 2 Beignets and Brews. I've got one in Little Rock, one in Grayton Beach.
Yeah.
And then we took over operations, helping out the corporate entity in Tallahassee.
How's the Rock and Roll doing here in Nashville, right by Vanderbilt?
It's the number one market in the country.
So awesome.
That
dude.
Vanderbilt and the Donaldson store are beasts.
That's awesome.
Those
I
are
love
the
that.
ones.
I love that. If you're in Nashville, make sure you drop by Rock and Roll Sushi.
Yeah.
So weren't content on all that success. You were like, hey, I've got got a bug. There's another franchise I like.
Well,
and I know you were kicking, because every time we talk, you were kicking around some other things with the island. I mean, there's been a few other things you've gotten really interested and hot on, but you jumped on this.
Well, it's Eric again.
Okay.
Eric Genrich. You know, he's serial brand builder. He's had some. What I love about him is, and you know this with athletes too. It's like batting. You know, you got to swing to hit, and he's not afraid to swing. But when he did this Beignets and Brew, I remember looking at it and I didn't really get it. Beignet, you know, whatever. And then I watched, and I mean, this thing's growing like crazy, and I love the concept. It's really cool. I mean, they've got the attraction to the decor. You know, like when you go in, it's just got this feel, and the beignets are outstanding.
The food is amazing.
The food is really good.
Really, really good. I don't want anybody yelling at me on this, but I would put your all's beignets up to anything you're getting out of New Orleans.
I agree.
They're delicious.
They're delicious.
But I think what the sleeper is on the menu, and it's not even in the name, but coming in there and your breakfast sandwiches. The breakfast sandwiches are killer.
Yeah.
They are killer. If you guys are down there on 30A, pop into, what is that crossings called? What is that? What's the building you're in?
We're in Grayton Corner.
Grayton Corner. Yeah. Okay. Grayton Corner.
Yep.
So you met with Eric and you kind of got the, like,
and I was like, well, you know, I just kept watching it and I didn't want to miss on it, you know, and I was like, I think we could do this in Arkansas. So we picked up the rights to Arkansas, and then
Did you do that one first before Watercolor or before Grayton?
No, I had Grayton going first.
Okay, you had Grayton, and so then Grayton opened up around Christmas, right?
Or Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yep. And then we opened up. We actually opened Little Rock first. Grayton just took a long time, but so we picked up Arkansas, and then most of the Memphis DMA.
Okay, are you doing the area developer
Yes.
gigging it? So what territories do you have with that?
Arkansas and the Memphis DMA.
Okay, so Florida, that's not...
No. I'm just a franchisee in Florida.
You're a franchisee in Florida.
Right.
Okay, and then how's the store going in Arkansas?
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah, what's funny is we picked up an old tropical smoothie that I put in back in the day. Isn't that amazing? Just recycled. I was like, hey, Glenn, I hear you're leasing that spot. And he said, yeah. And then we worked it out and we slipped right in there. It was a great get in cheap, right? Because it was already a drive-through and similar product. So it's kind of MVP, minimum viable product. I'm a big fan of getting in, you know, cheap if you can at first, and then testing out, making sure it resonates with our team. And we're still learning some things. So we can get better. But we sold our first franchise in Jonesboro, sold two in Little Rock, and then we've got one about to close in Hot Springs. So we should have several of these beignets and brews in Arkansas by the end of this year.
What gets you excited about this brand? What gets you up in the morning? You're like, yeah, I'm going to go out and do the thing. I mean, what really keeps you invigorated about this?
It's seeing people come in and the way that they react, not just to the beignets, it's the feel. It's the decor and the way they design this place. People love it. Like it's a female magnet. They love the
very
pink.
Instagrammy too.
It's very Instagrammy. It's just everything from the floor tile they picked, and it looks like a little French New Orleans-y cafe.
Very cool.
And it's great. And I'll tell you, the sleeper, I think, is people focus so much on the beignets. Our coffee is outstanding.
You got good coffee.
It is really good coffee. And I think, I'd like to see us, really talk about that more, because I think that's really important, because that's where the ritual is.
Yeah, sure.
It's in the coffee.
Yeah. So do you see yourself opening up more of those stores, your own stores on that? Do you think you'll do some more of those, or do you think you'll just be focusing on working with franchisees?
I think I'm waiting for my kids now. I'm so excited about that next chapter, working with my kids. I think that's I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But, Alex goes to school up there in Northwest Arkansas, and that's like the cherry of the state as far as like development would be. So I don't know, maybe develop some things with her up there.
Cool.
We'll see if it's still around.
Has she shown interest in that?
Yeah. She's an entrepreneurship major.
Okay.
And then, Ben is, he's going to fall right into it. I can see it already.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm really excited about working with them.
Okay. Is there anything else that's next that's on the horizon? Is there any other cool franchises for the people? If anybody's still listening, they're probably into the franchise scene. Like, what else that you see out there? You're like, hey, that's kind of interesting.
I'm ready to do my own thing.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
To build your own brand?
I'm ready to do, well, so I'm reading a book. I don't know if you've read it or heard about it. It's Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act.
I have not. No.
Okay, I'll get it for you.
Oh,
I'm
that's
going to
nice.
ship it to you.
Okay.
There's very few
I do
books
like
that I
Rick.
gift, but there are a few. And this is
Okay.
one I could tell halfway through. I'm like, I'm going to buy 20 copies of this, keep it in my truck, and give these out.
That's
It's
awesome.
amazing. But it's, once again, like I told you, kind of Tim Ferriss opened my eyes to
Mm-hmm.
these boundaries being gone. This book, in the same way, is allowing me to, sit back and let my creativity flow and
Mm-hmm.
see what comes out of it, because it's so easy to just do the next thing that you've done or that you feel that you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take a break from that and see what happens.
So I'm curious, how many, what, is there a max amount, or is it still pretty green space as far as beignets and brews goes in Arkansas, for example? Like what do you think like a threshold would be like? Do you think you could have 20 in the state, 30 in
yeah.
the state, 50?
Really?
Really?
Yeah, you could have 20.
20 easily without,
Yeah.
I mean, we've got there's 2 beignets and brews within how far of just down
Yeah,
in
on
St. Louis
38.
Beach?
Yeah,
I mean,
we're like 5 miles, aren't we? 6,
yeah,
5, 6.
yeah.
Something
And,
like
but
that.
they don't encroach. It's 2 different things.
38, it's kind of a weird
Yeah.
situation where we are. It's the geographical boundaries are not as clear
Yeah, I would.
with the tourists. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
no,
Yeah, they're
I-
more of a local store and we're more of a tourist store.
Okay. All right. Well, I ride my bike by there. I guess I'm a local tourist, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
maybe
we
I'm-
get some locals, but we don't have the density of locals. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah, sure.
if you look around that Grayton Beach store, there's a lot of state forest,
Yeah, no doubt. There's
a handful of homes in Grayton.
yeah. Well, this has been great, man. I was looking, and I've always got my notes here, and I was like, I think we've covered a whole bunch of the stuff. It looks like we made the full round trip. How can people learn more about what you've got going on? What if somebody's sitting there and they're like, hey, I live in Arkansas, or I live, I want to learn more about Beignets and Brew. How do they get in touch with you? What's the best way to do that? Go to the corporate website?
Yeah,
Do they
go
see
to the
if it-
corporate website. I mean, look, I'm a fan of the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in Arkansas, great. Memphis, love to talk to you. But the growth of the brand is important for every franchisee.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this one is going to be another Tropical Smoothie because it has the ability to scale faster because
Yeah.
it's coffee and beignets. Full service concept like Rock and Roll Sushi just takes longer. It's more specific franchisee that can scale full service.
Okay.
Where it's just easy. It's a small footprint. It's coffee and beignets.
And on both of those, right? Rock and Roll Sushi and Beignets and Brew, they can reach out
Yeah.
to you, or they can go to the website and you can walk them through that if anybody's
Sure.
got questions on it or they want to learn more about it. You got any big winners up in Kentucky, back in my home state? You got any big Beignets and Brews or Rock and Roll Sushi's killing it up there?
There is, I can't remember the town. Is it Owensboro?
There's an Owensboro.
I think
Yeah,
there's
sure.
a Rock and Roll Sushi in Owensboro, but I don't think there are any beignets and brews yet.
What about Beignets and Brews here in Nashville?
The arcade, is that downtown?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
one
I think
just
they
opened there.
Did that too. I
Yeah.
think they put a
Yep.
bunch of money
There's a
into it.
beignets and brew in there. You should go check it out.
Okay, cool. We should pop in there and see what's going on.
All right.
I love
Sounds
it.
good.
All right, everybody. This is my very good friend, Chris Kramolis. Thank you for being on the show. This was great, man.
Love it, Isham. This was awesome.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.